14 years ago, I made the most important decision of my life. I moved to China. I boarded this exact plane in San Francisco International Airport and flew to Shanghai. My colleagues greeted me at the airport and took me for my very first meal in China, an amazing hot pot. Afterwards, we walked down the famous Nanjing East Road pedestrian street, and I couldn't contain the excitement for my new adventure. However, I also remember feeling nervous. Would I be able to succeed as an American expat in China? Now, at age 23, I moved to China without really knowing anything about this amazing country. And I brought with me this journal, a gift from my parents, so I could start recording my many journeys and adventures throughout China. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the very first entry into this journal, which happened on Chinese New Year 2007. This is going to be a lot of fun because this journal is uncut, unedited, and it goes back to a very simple time when I didn't know anything about China, and I was simply just a 23-year-old American boy looking for an adventure. Now, before I read you my journal and tell you the details about my very first trip inside of mainland China, I want to tell you a little bit more background information about my trip. I had roughly been working in Shanghai for 1 month when one afternoon my boss approached me and said, "Cyrus, China's most important festival, the Spring Festival, Chinese New Year, is almost here, and all employees, including yourself, will be getting 3 days mandatory holiday." Now, immediately, my ears perked up and I was extremely excited. I had only been in China for 1 month and already I was getting a 3-day holiday. I immediately pulled up a map of China and I looked at my city of Shanghai. And I said, where could I go for 3 days? And I looked at the cities of Nanjing and Suzhou. I knew that traveling by train was convenient and I wanted to start exploring. Now, at the time, I knew nobody in China. I had very little Chinese language ability, but I had an adventurous spirit and I grabbed my backpack and made my way to the Shanghai railway station. And that's where our journey begins. February 19th, 2007, the day after Chinese New Year. The train station is full of people. I purchase a ticket to Nanjing. I'm very nervous purchasing my ticket because of language problems. I persist until the lady understands. People are carrying red packages of food, dried milk. Many people are returning to or visiting from the countryside. A small Chinese boy with a large family, very excited to see a tall Westerner, comes up to me yelling, "Hello!" with many giggles as I reply, "Ni hao." The train is very crowded in coach. Everyone is constantly eating. Chinese are very curious. They offer food to the foreigner. 美国很好. Chinese train station is very different from Europe, similar to an airport, with waiting rooms and terminals, very large trains. Classical music is playing in the cars, squatter toilets inside the trains. Hot water available in the train for passengers with ramen noodles. I'm searching for my hostel. A man sees me lost outside the Nanjing train station. He uses his phone, calls a taxi, gives a taxi driver instructions. People are very willing to help foreigners here. Now, this is really one of the most amazing experiences that I had. Again, this is just roughly 1 month into my China experience, and you can already see some things that really continue to this day. Many people in China are very curious about foreigners, and I especially remember this 14 years ago when I had very little Chinese language ability. In fact, really much the only word that I knew was "ni hao," "xie xie," and I simply went out with an adventurous spirit. But I was amazed at how many Chinese people came up to me, wanted to take photographs with me, but most importantly, really wanted to learn more about myself. When I told them that I was from America, 美国, they always responded with a genuine smile. They were always so curious to know more about my home country. More importantly, they were very honored that I was in China and that I showed a keen interest in learning more about China. February 20th, 2007. Nanjing is the second city that I have visited in China. It is a former capital city here, and the tourist sites are amazing. This afternoon, I went out to visit some of the most famous sites, including the tomb of an ancient Chinese emperor. I meet many Chinese families. All of them are very eager to have their children practice English with me, the foreigner. I walk along the sacred road in Nanjing. I enjoy the plum blossoms, gardens, and nature. That afternoon, I travel back to Fuzimiao, the Confucius Temple. and I walk along the Spring Festival activities with crowds and crowds of people. I've never seen so many people in one place. There are many beautiful lanterns all over the city, and I visit Zhonghuamen. I enjoy it to myself. Beautiful lights, a courtyard. There is nothing to hear but distant fireworks. Now it's important to note that before I went to Shanghai, the summer before, I had an opportunity to backpack around Europe. Like many Americans, we go to Europe with a backpack and we start exploring Europe. And that really was the first opportunity for me to start traveling this beautiful world that we live in. And because I did a backpacking trip to Europe, when a job opportunity to China came up, I was very keen to continue exploring this beautiful world that we live in. In my journal here, I often compare things back to Europe because my backpacking trip that summer was the closest thing that I could compare it to. Many memories of Europe while I'm traveling here in China. There is nothing better than visiting sites, speaking a foreign language, eating local food, booking hostels, meeting new people, and absorbing as much as possible. I miss home and the people there. I worry about my parents and I hope that they're okay. I know that my decision to come to China was the correct one, and I look forward to when I can see them again soon. I'm very thankful to Mom and Dad and everything that they have done for me in my life. Our hostel in Nanjing is very warm and friendly. There are 5 couches that extend down the hallway. These are perfect spots for relaxing, talking, and meeting with new people. Our receptionists are very friendly and helping provide tourist information. They're also very friendly and willing to help me learn more Chinese. As most Chinese people are, they are very complimentary of any Chinese-speaking ability, despite the fact that I only know a few phrases. I go to a Chinese restaurant that evening. However, I am by myself. I'm a complete stranger in the middle of a very big city. Amazingly, people come up to me and they ask me, do I need help ordering food? It seems that a table for one is very unusual in China. I look around the restaurant and everybody is enjoying a large meal in groups of 8, 10, even 12 people together. Many children are very excited to see a Westerner. They're very eager to say hello. Many stares and looks. Everybody is interested in Western culture. Again, it's really amazing for me to go back and read this journal because it just brings me back in time to that a very adventurous state of my life where I went to China with a very open mind. And I think this is really just shows you why I'm so passionate about making YouTube videos about China. You see, I went to China with a very open mind, and I immediately found that everybody was very welcoming to me. And I believe that that's still the same today. I know that on my last visit to China just 18 months ago, still the same questions were asked. Cyrus, where are you from? You're from America. Tell us about your home country. How do you like China? We're so happy that you're here. And this is one of the things that I really want people around the world to understand, is that China is a very beautiful place. There's a lot of happiness there. There's a lot of people that are very proud of their country. Even in 2007, you could see the pride that was coming from these Chinese people as the country of China was slowly starting to build. Again, in 2007, it wasn't the country that it is today. It has improved and gotten better so much over these past 14 years. But the Chinese people back then knew that they were on an incredible journey. They were on a journey and they were making their lives better as their country continued to improve. And I was just very grateful that I had an opportunity to go to China as early as I did. February 1st, 2007, I take the train to Hangzhou. I sit next to a family of many generations. I pass another train. Every car is full of food. The Chinese invented train picnics. It seems that everybody enjoys eating on the train. Hangzhou is too far, so I decide to get off at Suzhou instead. Suzhou is full of tricycle taxis, pedal and motorized. I haggle with a street vendor from Western China. He tells me that he is from Xinjiang, and he has a large slab of peanut and fruit mixture brittle that I bargain with him. It tastes fantastic. I love speaking Chinese and learning to haggle the prices. I visit the Master of the Net's garden, one of China's most famous gardens in Suzhou. The scenery is something like a movie. I can't believe that I am here in China. I go back to my hostel. It is just down the street from this very famous garden, and the staff, as always, is very helpful. In fact, they give me the staff bed as there are no more regular rooms left at the hostel. The receptionist tells me I am very appreciative that you are learning Chinese. Suzhou is a completely modern city. Jinjihu, the big lake there, is full of skyscrapers. There's a grand pavilion surrounding the lake with a large mall, upscale restaurants, and a paved square. This is the most western part of China that I have ever seen. I eat at a large Chinese restaurant. It is more like a factory than a restaurant. I'm amazed at how many people are eating here. I'm even more amazed at how many servers are working inside the restaurant. I can't believe one restaurant can produce this much amount of food in one evening. The government has recently banned firecrackers, but the Chinese are protesting, claiming that there is no atmosphere. That evening, it seems that every city in China is ignoring the rules for Spring Festival. Firecrackers and fireworks can be heard all night long. Evening water and light show at the beautiful Jinji Lake. I tried Chinese milk tea for the first time. I go back to my hostel and I meet a Hong Kong-born Chinese that lives in Japan. He's a photographer and a teacher who has lived for 7 years in Tokyo. That evening I chat with the receptionist. He has traveled to every province in China and he takes great pride in his country. He believes that China will continue to grow. I am very happy that I came to China. I hope one day I too can travel to every province in China. Now looking back on this journal entry and the very first trip that I took to both Nanjing and Suzhou, my first 3-day trip in China was amazing. Some of these memories are so vivid that they really feel like they just happened yesterday to me. And that's why I love journaling, and that's why I really enjoy having these old photos. Because when I miss China, especially during national holidays like the Spring Festival, I look back to the many Spring Festivals that I spent in China. And I'm very grateful for where I am today. I'm married to a beautiful girl from China, and we have 3 half-Chinese children together. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful that I took that chance at a young age to go to China. Again, it truly was the best decision that I've ever made in my entire life. Now 2021 is the year of the ox, and after a very difficult 2020, I, along with everybody around the world, am very optimistic for a very positive year ahead. I'm very excited because I continue to live my China dream here in Vancouver. In the past couple of weeks, I've been doing various Chinese Spring Festival gala dinners here in Vancouver. We've been doing them all remotely, recording them for television production shows. Let me show you a clip of what I mean.
尊敬的各位来宾，
女士们、先生们，
大朋友们、小朋友们，
全球的华人观众朋友们，大家
过年好！
我是出生在美国，生活在加拿大，爱中国的王德忠，很高兴能够跟全球华人朋友们一起过年。
Everyone, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to spend it with me as I went back in time and I recap some of my most fondest memories of Chinese New Year's that I spent inside of China. Wherever you are in the world, I wish you and your loved ones a very happy Chinese New Year. 新年快乐，祝你和你家人身体健康。感谢大家你们的观看，感谢你们的支持，我们下次再见。